I was more than a tulip or a daisy, destined to grow no matter how many times they buried me. I was destined to grow no matter how many times they poisoned my soil and poured concrete over me. If you haven't checked out my fundraiser that I put out on Everything College, I highly encourage you, after you watch this video, to go check it out because it's inspirational and it's really amazing. Head over right now to my YouTube and subscribe. Catch this amazing interview with Imani Mack, where she talks about her experience at San Jose State. You don't want to miss out. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and let's get straight into the video. Don't forget to subscribe to check out this week's set of interviews. You don't want to miss out. Welcome back to Everything College. I'm your host, Christina Parker, supporting your college navigation while minimizing debt. Welcome back to the series. If you haven't did so already, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. All of the information or helpful links will also be in the description below, so make sure you check that out. If you have any suggestions for anything that you would like to see on my series, please go ahead and make sure you comment that below. So we have a special guest today, and I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Hi, thanks for having me. My name is Imani Savage. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm a current, soon to be finished first year Master's Social Work student at San Jose State.
Nice. Thank you for that. So, why did you pick San Jose State as your university?
Well, there's two reasons. I think it kind of just picked me. But mainly, I just kind of looked at just the mission statement of the School of Social Work. Every school has a different mission statement and what their intent is for the students to learn and just to come out with during the program. And I really appreciated and liked how they were very aware of the cultural differences that society has and ways in which we as social workers can, you know, help address those cultural differences and also to help those that are in oppressive situations. And so I chose the school because I really felt that it aligned with my beliefs of how people should be treated. I think in society people of color are often oppressed, and especially in educational settings. And so I wanted to be in a space where it recognized that and also set forth the power to make those changes. So
Yeah, no, thank you for that. So, how has your first year of school been in a global pandemic?
oh man, this it is definitely interesting to say the least. I liked it, and in some ways I didn't. I'm a very social person, so it's really hard to connect with people on the computer screen, and then you have those connection issues where you're not able to hear whoever's talking. Sometimes your Wi-Fi goes out, sometimes Zoom kicks you out, but I think you just have to make the best out of it in any situation. Life always has this crazy way of throwing things at you, so I think it just depends on how you decide to make a negative into a positive. But overall, I think I enjoyed my first year. It definitely taught me a lot about myself. It just taught me that I'm definitely, well, this and the pandemic, it taught me that I'm stronger than I think. You don't really know your true strength until it's actually tested. And definitely going to grad school in the pandemic has definitely taught me that. So, yeah.
I'm glad that you're able to learn something through the pandemic.
Yeah.
So, what are some pros and cons of going to school in a pandemic?
Um, what should I start with first?
Either, whatever you want to start with.
Okay. I'll start with the cons. Why not be different? I would say the cons are kind of like how I said earlier, just sometimes there's glitches, there's technical difficulties with trying to connect to Zoom. Especially those times when you're doing a presentation. Sometimes this even happened to me last week. I was trying to do a presentation and literally my internet connection cut off and
Oh no.
right in the middle of me talking. So though there's that. So just trying to navigate with the internet connection and difficulties with that. I would say another one that a key one for me was distractions.
Mhm.
Instead of me, I should be focusing in class, but in reality, I'm probably on Facebook or Instagram. So, or watching videos or sleeping or just doing other things. So, it's definitely a lot of distractions. Like, if you're not in a space that's not,
Mhm.
structured or organized to where you can kind of sit at a desk and, do your schoolwork. I mean, I had that, but I just didn't want to get out of bed. So the temptation to just kind of stay in bed is definitely a con. Another con I would say is I think you're not, well, I think it depends on your internship experience, but I had a virtual internship experience and I didn't get the full extent of the experience because it was virtual. So I was doing my internship with an elementary school and doing school counseling. And so with that, I had to do it online virtually and I felt that I wasn't able to like connect with the kids that I met with, fully because everything was online. It was essentially like they were talking to a stranger on Zoom. So, I mean, we got to know each other and whatnot, but it
Yeah.
was just kind of like hard to connect with the kids. So I think just going back to what I was saying, like depending on your internship, it could be a con if you had to like do something that's more so hands-on online because you're not learning the full experience of it. Um, Another one I would say, mm, what's another con? I
You
think
know the
that's it for cons. That was kind of a lot.
pros.
For pros, I would say it. I think it depends on your school, but if you're in a cohort system, it's definitely huge because they're like they're your tribe. Like they're there through everything. They help you. If you're missing an assignment, they'll let you know. If you like need help reading a paper or like getting some feedback on a paper, they'll usually like help you out. And it's weird because I never thought that in a million years I would connect with like people so
Mhm.
much, especially over Zoom. So definitely, a pro would be if you're in the cohort system, utilizing that. I would also say just being at home, like you don't have to get up and get ready. If you don't want to wear pants, you don't have to. You
Yeah.
get to just be in your pajamas. You get to, if you have like a really messy background, you get to like put up the little filters. You can have class from bed. So just kind of like the convenience of like rolling out of bed, like maybe 30 seconds or 1 minute before you start your class and like being in bed and like having your class. And then also, I think I mean, this kind of goes back to the distractions a little bit with the con, but I guess the pro of that would be just being able to like kind of do some of the things that you weren't able to do necessarily because you're away. So, like, you might be able to pay attention to class and like fold laundry or like wash dishes or something like that. So, yeah.
So you mentioned a little bit about like your field placement. So I was just wondering, like, how was your field experience?
Um, it was okay. I just personally think that my personal experience just wasn't the best. I would, like I said earlier, I was at an elementary school. It was a very, I'll just be honest, it was a very, what they call a hill school, which is a privileged school. It's a nice way to say that. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of like white privilege there and, oppression and whatnot. So I think just in that experience, I've dealt with staff that, have used their white privilege to their advantage and try to like, just in a sense like oppress me. And I mean, I wasn't having it though, but
Good,
but
as you
there's
should.
that. And then, I mean, from the parents it's kind of to be expected.
Mhm.
I kind of expected that, but just the staff itself wasn't really like that supportive. I mean, there were some good things about it. Like you got a lot of like experience really quickly. You got to learn like a lot of skills, a lot of critical thinking and, just different techniques that you can use for therapy and social work. And then you also get the chance to like, connect with the kids and the parents, which I really enjoyed because that's what it really was all about. So,
Yeah. So you mentioned being at a hill school or a school
mhm.
that's privileged, right? Which means that they have access to resources.
Yeah.
Did you get paid for your field placement? And do you feel like that was an equitable pay?
So at the end of the academic year, you get a stipend. It's $1,000. And I honestly, it was going to be 500, but my field instructor vouched for us to get more. And it was like pulling teeth trying to do that. Like the district wasn't trying to do it, but
Mhm.
then she pushed so hard that they finally agreed to do it, which I'm glad about.
Yeah.
Ooh, what was I gonna say? Hold on, I lost my train of thought.
No worries. No worries.
But it wasn't no, to answer your question, it wasn't enough at all. Like $1,000. I live in the Bay Area, so you
Yeah.
know how it is out here. It's really expensive. And
Mhm.
I just feel like the amount of work that I did, and sometimes I even worked outside of internship hours to like, help with certain things with crisis and whatnot. I just feel like it wasn't adequate enough to like go with, the amount of work that I did. So I think moving forward, I mean, I get like with a lot of internship placements like schools, there's only so much funding that they have, but I think they should definitely try to do more to where interns can get like maybe a monthly allowance or some type of pay rather than like every, I don't know, at the end of the year you get a stipend. So
Yeah, no, definitely, definitely. What would be something that you feel like would be equitable, like for you to get paid, like through your internship?
um I would have been happy if I would have got like, 1,000 a month. I think that'd be fair. I mean, it's obviously not enough to like make a dent in like my bills, but it's at least like something.
Yeah, no,
I
that,
understand like as an intern, you don't have like the degree per se or like the experience to get like the pay you should be getting paid. But at the same time, I do feel like, people are, I mean, thank God I was online. If I would have went in person, I would have had to pay like so much money. I would have had to like pay for my transportation, my lunch, and just everything else. So I mean, I'm lucky in regards with COVID that I kind of was able to do that from home. But just if it isn't COVID and when we do, I mean, things are opening back up. So people are going to have to go back in person and travel near and far. So I think that they should have, that monthly allowance that allows students to like take care of those things and not have to add an extra stressor onto their lives.
definitely. My next question for you is,
Mhm.
would you prefer an in-person, virtual, or hybrid program? I know you mentioned a little bit about it previously.
Um, I think I like hybrid. I like being online, but I like also going in and like connecting with people. I think for me, like, I'm kind of flexible with both. I mean, it is hard at times when you have to constantly be on Zoom all the time. I hella have Zoom fatigue. So constantly just being on the computer. So I think it'd just be nice to like, maybe once a week I'll go like online and then maybe the next week I can go in person or maybe like one day out of the week in person, one day out of the week online. So kind of a mix of both. I think that's hybrid, right?
Yeah, no, that's definitely hybrid.
Yeah, okay.
Definitely hybrid. What other benefits do you think that a hybrid program would benefit you?
Um I would say definitely commute
Mhm.
because I live in Concord and Concord is like an hour from San Jose. So definitely it would it would be so great for me to like not have to pay all that money for gas.
Mhm.
Gas is like what, like I think it was 4.39 when I filled up the other day. So
Yeah, gas is. Whew.
you can imagine like just constantly going to the gas tank if you go to school like a couple times a week. 'Cause I use like maybe a quarter tank to get there and back. So just doing that, it adds up.
Definitely.
So that's definitely a plus for me, like just to be,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm. What do you wish that your school did differently in response to COVID-19?
Um, I think the main thing, I think they did a really good job like when COVID first happened. I mean, from my what I've heard, I wasn't there when the pandemic first happened. I think they did really good about like, shutting the school down and trying to be accommodating to students. But I would just say for now, just giving students the choice to go back into in person or online. I think that a lot of students had to change their lives because of COVID. Like some people, like for instance, some people in my cohort, they ended up moving out of state or like other parts of the state because it was cheaper to live at home, or there was no reason to be here because the main reason was just to be in school. So I would just say for those students that, had to literally uproot themselves and just aren't able to like come to campus right away, I think they should give them a choice. Or also just there may be some students that might not be comfortable with going to campus because they don't have the vaccine, or they just, don't want to be around a whole bunch of people. So I
Yeah.
would say the school should definitely consider that. I think that's something that they could improve on. And I get like there's certain things that they have to do, but I think that they should be a little bit more flexible and like students having a choice of, being online, being in person, and then also just the amount of the days you go to class. I feel like for me, we're only limited to Mondays and Tuesdays. And I think just having like other options to where, okay, maybe you can go 5 days of the week, you get to choose the time of your classes. I think that would definitely like help people out more that, need to work, take care of their kids, or just do other things. So,
No, definitely. Thank you for that.
hmm
So, from 1 to 10,
hmm
what would you rate your program or your experience at San Jose?
um, I would rate it. I think I'll get the full answer to that question when I go back in person.
Yeah, no, we're
But just from my online experience, I would say probably an 8.5. I wouldn't say a perfect 10 because I did feel like there was some room for room for improvement, just at least in terms of our internship hours. They weren't very at first. They weren't really accommodating. I forget how many hours we were supposed to do, but it was a lot to where many students weren't able to get their hours done because, the COVID, and then just them not being able to start their internships right away. Their internships at the last minute dropping out, not taking in anybody. So I think the school definitely could have improved on that. I think if they would have kind of like take that into consideration, then it would have been a perfect 10. But other than that, I think it was great.
I'm glad. I'm glad that your experience was good and memorable. And
Yeah.
hopefully, if anyone is at San Jose, that you take
hmm
some of the things that she's saying into consideration and fix those things so students can have a more enjoyable time. So, my last question for you is, what advice do you have for students going to San Jose or other schools?
Um, I'll say I'll start with San Jose first. So specifically for San Jose, if you're going to the MSW program, definitely, like I said earlier, rely on your cohort. They're your main support system. Like they're going to be there for you from beginning to end. And then also just, reaching out to your professors. A lot of the professors at San Jose State are really cool. They're really understanding and they want you to succeed and do well. And also utilizing the social work graduate association at the school. They're there for students and student support, and also just to hear your concerns and bring it to the faculty to help students out in the future. It might not be a change that might happen right away, but at some point it might, or it might happen soon. So I would say overall for anybody, are you saying for the MSW program or just grad school?
Any student, you can preference to MSW or grad school in general, whatever
Oh, okay.
you want to speak to.
Just on a broader spectrum, I would say, if you're applying, just kind of go and see like all the mission statements of the school and the actual program because it might not align with your beliefs. And what else would I say? Just go with your gut, Just, if something doesn't feel right, then don't do it. And then also just taking care of yourself, making sure that you're having enough time to, do some self-care because grad school is not so much that it's hard. The work itself isn't hard. It's just you have more assignments. And so it can be very stressful and you got to like have a balance. You have to make sure that you're eating, you're drinking water, you're taking care of yourself, whatever that looks like for you. So I would say that as my advice. And then just being gentle with yourself. And, if you have those breakdowns, it's okay.
Hmm.
Because most likely, like if you're in the cohort system, most likely they probably are having those same feelings. So just reaching out to your tribe and letting them know.
Yeah. Thank you for that advice for students that are out there
Yeah,
watching. And, huge thank you for donating or volunteering your time to talk to students about, your experience and provide them with guidance and stuff like that.
definitely.
Anything Anything that is needed is going to be linked in the description for anyone that's out there that's watching. If you would like to participate in an interview and you would like to also guide students and tell them about your experience, you can email me or you can comment in the comments below. Is there any final words you would like to leave the audience with?
Um, just, do it. Like if your heart is really set on grad school, go and, don't let anyone or anything stop you. Um, Even if there's a school that you think you might not get into, just apply anyways. You might be surprised. So yeah. And also thank you for having me on. It's been nice to, kind of reflect on my own experience and just to help out fellow students. So yeah. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to email me or contact me. I'm more than happy to share my experience with you and give me extra advice.
Definitely. And all that information will also be linked in the description. Thank you all for watching. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, stay studious. Don't forget to check out Michaela James' interview on everything college on 7/23 at 6:30 p.m. You don't want to miss it.